Okay, so here finally we're going to start calculating with fractions. We're going to start performing our first operation with fractions, and that is adding fractions with the same denominator. So now I want to mention something about this verbal description and the future verbal descriptions of the procedures that are going to come. I know that for many of you these will seem unwieldy, but if you read them carefully, out loud, and as well as when you're following the examples, this will help you to develop a deeper understanding of what's happening and will help you learn it better and will help you perform it better. Because us humans, we communicate in words, and even though I'm going to show you some examples and you'll be able to get from the examples how to do the calculations, when you also incorporate this verbal description, it's going to improve your thinking skills, and it's also going to improve your grasp of this technique, and it will help you learn it more for the long term. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to begin. So the sum of two fractions with the same denominator is the fraction whose numerator is the sum of the numerators of the fractions being added, and whose denominator is the denominator shared by the fractions being added. Let me read that one just one more time. And I encourage you guys to read it, to pause the video and read it for yourselves. Write this down in your notebook. The sum of two fractions with the same denominator is the fraction whose numerator is the sum of the numerators of the fractions being added, and whose denominator is the denominator shared by the fractions being added. This sounds like a mouthful, and I know it is, but when you read it, it will. But when you absorb it, it will make more sense. So let me show you the first example. This example is very simple, and it's going to show you what's happening. If I have the fraction 2/5 and I have the fraction 1/5 and I'm adding them, well, does this rule that we just discussed apply? It does. Why? Because they have the same denominator. So what is the sum of two fractions with the same denominator? It is the fraction whose numerator is the sum of the numerators of the fractions being added. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And whose denominator is the denominator shared by the fractions being added. What denominator is shared by the fractions being added? 5. Therefore, it's 3/5. And if you noticed right there, what I did was I walked through the addition of this fraction verbally with the same words that I used in this description, this verbal description. And that's the same way I want you guys to do it. Yes. Now, underneath here, I drew a picture to show what's happening. 2/5, right? We know this is the whole. It's been sliced into 5 pieces. And of these, 2 have been shaded. So that's 2/5 plus 1/5. Right? This whole has been sliced into 5 pieces, of which 1 is shaded. And if I put those 2/5 together with this 1/5, I get the 3/5. 3/5 are shaded in the final sum. So that kind of makes it make sense to us. And let me tell you also why this works from a different perspective. Basically, because the whole has been sliced into the same number of equal slices, these slices are comparable. For example, if I had a pizza that was sliced into 5 slices, and you had a pizza that was sliced into 10 slices, my slices are twice as big as yours. So one slice of mine is not the same as one slice of yours. So we can't add, we wouldn't be able to add fractions with different denominators so easily. And in fact, soon we're going to learn how to do that. But when they have the same denominator, they're the same size, we can just count them together. And that's the logic underlying this procedure. And now I'm going to show you a couple more examples. And I want you to put these examples in your book together with the picture so you guys can learn it well. And so you guys can be able to do it after you've practiced a little bit with an automaticness that I want to instill in you. Thank you.